Yay! Good to see you. How's it going? Happy December. So for those who are in my area with the new lockdown, I chose my mug today to make a comment on it, of what I feel about it. Because I'm not a fan. But anyway, let's jump into the cards and see what the next 2 weeks have in store. For those who are new, Tea and Tarot is where we go to the cards. Every 2 weeks, I connect to the energy, use my intuition to tap into what's happening, what's been going on, what to expect, how things are going. So let's jump in. I'm going to go to the Work Your Light Oracle cards to start with. But in the meantime, as everyone connects, how's everyone doing? And if there's any decks that I normally use that you know that I have that you'd like to see, just pop a message in the comments. It's good to see everyone though. I hope you're not all going too crazy with the pre-Christmas plans. I know I have a to-do list that's very, very long. And I'm sorry about changing the date from yesterday. I had a family emergency and I had to be there and I couldn't do anything about it. So thank you for your patience in coming back this morning. Because I know that yesterday morning it was very last minute. I apologize for that. I don't normally do that unless the world ends. So, all right. So we're going to the Work Your Light Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell. It's a beautiful deck. I'll show you the deck if you haven't seen it. And for those who also don't know, I make soap and bath and body care products. So the last couple of weeks I've been making stuff like a crazy maniac. So for those who are local, I am doing porch pickup. If you need oracle cards or anything, I have some of these decks extra. All right, this is the card here for today. So this is a card of journey, and it's asking us where we want to go, to start to consider where we want to go, which is perfect because we have the solstice energy. We are in the solstice energy right now, and that's all about that turning point from the darkness into the light. And I know for a lot of us, we feel the end of December, January 1st is our new year, and we think about how we want that next year to go, and we think about what we want to create for ourselves. But this card is asking us to do this a bit early. It's asking us to do this right now and think about where are you being called from your heart, from your soul. Where are you being called? Not where do you want to go with your mind or where you think you should go or if it's a job where you think the money is or where the status is or any of that stuff. It's like on a soul level, what's calling to you right now? And it might not make sense, you know? For example, I was going through my cupboards a few weeks ago, clearing stuff out. I had some old soap packaging and I'm like, do I get rid of this? Do I let this go? And then I thought, you know what? No, I'm gonna make some stuff. And then it exploded into making a lot of stuff, but that's my joy in creation and creating things. So even though I was busy, I had a lot of fun and now I have a lot of stuff in my basement to sell people. But so it's like, where are you being called right now? It could be something really small, like you wanna make your grandma's shortbread recipe, you know, over the next couple of days. Or it could be really big stuff, like you might be at a turning point in your life where your career or the way you've lived your life up till now might not be feeding your soul anymore. And it might not just be a temporary thing. It might not just be from temporary depression or temporary this. It could be like something that you've been feeling for a really, really long time. So really pay attention to those feelings because they're coming from your soul. And so this is asking you where you want to go to. So for the next couple of weeks, journal, start to just rule that around in your head. Just ask yourself, where do I want to be? And how do I want to be? And what does that look like? And start to envision that, because when we can start to envision it and imagine that in our mind, that's the first step to moving towards it, to creating it. A lot of times when I'm teaching intuitive workshops, students say, well, Kerri, how do I know I'm not making it up? You know, how do I know it's my intuition? And how do I know I'm not making it up? And that's a really common question to ask, because our intuition and our imagination are next door neighbors in our brain. And so it's really hard to discern between the two. And I always say to them, well, if you're making it up, why are you making that up and not something else? Because intuition will usually pop in, so unannounced. And when we're thinking of things that we want to make up, or our imagination, we're usually running different scenarios of the future. Some of them will never happen. Worry is sometimes called that. Worry to me is just your imagination running amok, you know? So this is more like visioning clearly with intention where you would like to be, and what does that look like, and what does that feel like, and start to put yourself in that scene, start to put yourself in that energy, and then the clarity will come. Okay, so don't worry if you have no idea. You might only have the information that of how you want to feel in the future. That might be all you're going with. You might just be like, I just want to feel more peace. I just want to feel more freedom. I just want to feel more balance. I just want to feel more healthy. You know, it could be just a feeling that you have to cling to start with. So just start with whatever you've got. But over the next 2 weeks, we're being asked by Spirit, where are we being called to journey to? Now for me, I want to take this card and be like, well, I want to travel. Would you sort out the world so we can travel again? Anyway. All right. Mermaids are calling. Any mermaid ladies, men in the house? All right, so the mermaid deck is calling this morning, so we'll go there. And I really hope that, I know it's a busy time, and I know I take on way too much this time of year, just in planning, and I don't know if it's a mom thing, or I just do. And I always feel like by Boxing Day, I just need a 24-hour nap. But I hope that all of you, and with me, I'm setting the intention this year to have more balance in preparing for Christmas. And you know, with not being able to gather in the way we normally do, it is a bit easier. But I find for me, if I'm making a meal, I'm usually making it for 5 people because that's what I'm used to. So even if I'm by myself, I'm always making too much food. So I'm probably going to over prepare for Christmas, even though it's not happening the way it normally does. But anyway, so I pulled the contemplation card here, and it's very similar to that first card, which is like we're really being asked to go in to the energy of ourselves right now. Less about what's happening with other people and less what's happening with the world. And I know it's hard to disconnect from what's happening in the world because there is so much going on. It's changing daily. It can be very stressful. But we're really being asked to pull our energy into ourselves right now. And it might seem like a really self-centered thing to do, but it's actually a self-preservation thing to do. We're being asked to go into that first place of where things are created, inside ourselves, inside our soul, and actually sit quietly and connect. So this would be a great time to take up meditation, to try meditation out if you haven't already, or maybe reignite your meditation practice. Start off small at first with meditation. Sometimes people decide they're going to sit for an hour. They get really frustrated. They try too hard. They end up with a headache. They just hate it. Start with 10 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. You can have a meditative moment in your car. I mean, not while you're driving, but just like, you know, parked while you're folding your laundry. Try to bring meditation or those moments of quiet inner reflection into your everyday. Little bits here and there. Like sprinkle it throughout your day rather than trying to rearrange your day to have that quiet moment, because it might not happen. And for those of you who have busy lives or even small children, you'll realize like you can't even get 5 minutes to use the washroom by yourself. How are you supposed to meditate, right? So just little moments here and there, just where you breathe and you connect to yourself and you connect to what's happening around you. Like if you go for a hike, be really present, really feel your feet on the earth as you walk, really breathe in the air, connect to the trees. Use those little moments to really connect. When someone's speaking to you, really connect with that person. Go into that meditative state of mind and really hear what they're saying, feel what they're saying. You know, when little children, they're always running around and hustle and bustle. Try to really connect to them, like really get down on their level and play that game that they want to play. You know, use these moments, these busy moments in life to start to train yourself to be really present with what you're doing instead of going through the activity of what you're doing where your mind is already thinking of the next thing, or yesterday's stuff, or the future stuff. Try to stay in the now and just be in this moment. And I know when I say that, I'm kind of like, oh God, we hear that all the time. Just be in this moment. What does that even mean? But it literally just means just now. That's all that matters. All this other stuff, it's just noise. It's just noise and distraction. So try to do that. Even if you can't carve out time for actual meditation, you're going to be present in everything you're doing, or at least certain times be present. I had a friend once who he teaches a course, and one of the lessons in the course is about doorknobs and doorbells or chimes. And whenever you touch a doorknob or hear a doorbell or hear a chime, that's a sign for you to stop and just be present. And he was having his class use those things just to get them to stop. So you might have another symbol or thing that you use, like maybe every time something happens, that's when you stop and you go within. And you can set it up however you want to. Maybe every time your phone goes off, you're like, oh, I'm going to take a moment and be present. So whatever it is, but try to find a way to be present with yourself over the next 2 weeks. And if you struggle with meditation and want to get started, a great place to start is with a guided meditation, because then you have that person's voice guiding you. You don't have to think about where you're going. Eventually, after doing a lot of guided meditations, you'll get to a point where you can't stand any noise and you'll just want the silence naturally. So that's my advice if you're just starting out. Don't torture yourself with meditation for the first part, or you'll just end up hating it. And it's really a beautiful thing. It's not always easy, but there are times where you just feel so refreshed and amazing after. It's definitely worth it. All right, so I'm going to the Return of the Spirit card deck, which is fractal images. They're all different. We're going to go there today for our next card. And also, too, I want to thank all of you for your patience with me with technology, because I am learning a lot, but I don't know, I think the connection doesn't always work great for me for whatever reason. Okay, so this is the card I pulled here. This is beautiful purple energy, but there's a lot of movement in this energy and it can feel a little bit chaotic. And this card is asking us to not get caught up in the drama, okay? To notice that it's there. It's not about ignoring things when they get a little crazy or fall apart or get a little chaotic or dramatic. It's not about ignoring that, but it's about not feeding it with energy, not feeding it with fear, and not getting involved in it. It's just about observing it. So if you find yourself over the next 2 weeks in a situation that normally would make you anxious or make you fearful, just use that as an opportunity to take a step back and imagine that you're behind glass and that you're watching it like a movie or a TV show. And it's put you in the position of being the observer and being detached from what you're watching, rather than being inside of it and being the participant and being tossed around in the chaos. This card is asking us to be one step outside of it. So try to do that. I know it's difficult sometimes, but when you do that, it will help to not feed the drama or chaos that's happening, because as soon as you step outside of it and breathe and center yourself, you'll be able to see clearly what's happening, but your energy isn't feeding the energy of chaos and craziness. You know, you've pulled out, you're centered, and so then if this is happening around you, your energy being calm is actually going to help the energy calm. One of my sons is going through school to become a paramedic, and he's perfect for this, because even as a child, he never really got involved in any kind of chaos or drama. He always seemed this cool, collected little guy. And so if he encounters someone with their arm falling off or eyeball out of their head, he'll just be so chill about it. I would be freaking out. So, but that's what we want to be right now. We want to be like that paramedic in life, where we're calm. We look at the scene for what it is. We help out in the way that we can, and we leave the rest behind. So whether these are events that are going to happen in some of our lives or virtually, you know, just watching the news, the whole point of this card is not to go into that chaos, not to go into that frantic energy, but to pull yourself out, put that glass up, imagine you're watching it on a television screen, and then you'll be able to get that clarity to make decisions, because we can't make good decisions from a place of running around like a chicken with your head cut off. It's just not possible. Okay, so hopefully this isn't something we all experience, it's not a negative thing. It's just when change happens, it can feel very chaotic. So if you have this happen over the holidays, the reminder is to just be still, get outside of it so that you can look at it. Don't be in it. Don't be in the madness. Okay? All right, so I'm going now to the Keepers of the Light deck, just to show you what that one looks like. I think I have an extra one of these if anybody's looking for one of these decks. I also ordered a bunch of new stuff too. I have singing bowls and more stuff. So if you guys missed the shop, for those of you who've been with me for a long time and you missed the old Circle of Light shop, I'm repopulating all of the goodies. I think I've pulled this one before for us, about awakening presence, Amoria. Okay, I'm being really drawn to the indigo blue and also the symbol over his heart. It's actually between the throat chakra and the heart chakra. And this area here between the throat and between the heart is where a lot of people believe our soul resides, like our soul center, our soul chakra. And for me, when I feel this physically in my body or when I'm working with clients in this area draws my attention, it's usually about our soul purpose. It's not about what we want, what we don't want, what our personality is involved in. It's on a soul level. It's like, why are you on the planet? You know, what did you come here to do? Why have you put yourself through this crazy cycle of birth? And, you know, why are you here? Why on a soul level? And that is triggered from this area here. And that's the area that we're being also, again, called to look at. So all of us collectively are going to be doing some really deep soul searching, I think, over the next couple of weeks here, really realigning with our purpose in a deeper way. So if you've been feeling lost or scattered, or if you've been feeling like something's missing in your life and you just can't put your finger on it, that's okay. That's just you getting sort of a trailer of the movie that's to come, because we are in the energy of that right now, figuring out all of those things. So if you've been feeling this for a few weeks, or if you've been feeling really lost, that's okay. That just means you were a little bit ahead of the game, feeling the energy ahead of time. So for the next couple of weeks, journal, okay? Even if you're not a writer. And if you really are hesitant to, then dictate into your phone. Find a way to take a couple minutes every day, maybe 10 minutes when you have your coffee or tea or whatever your morning routine is, and just journal, just connect to what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and let it out of your body. Like, let yourself just sort of spill it all out onto the paper or onto the recording. But this is going to help you find that clarity, because there will be a consistency. If you do this every single day for the next 2 weeks, you're going to find there's themes that come up of questions you're asking yourself, things that you're struggling with, or things that you're really desiring to create in your life. You're going to find that keeps coming up over and over again, and that's going to help you pinpoint those things that you need to start moving towards or trying to bring into your life. And it's like your soul is saying, okay, it's my time now. You've done all the things for your personality and for all the other parts of yourself, but now it's time, it's my time. So this is the time of year as well. Winter is a great time for self-reflection. So not to lay all this heavy stuff on you as we go into Christmas, but we're all going to be doing some soul excavation over the next few weeks. It doesn't have to be a hard thing. It can be a really beautiful thing. So yay, okay. It'll be interesting to see how some of your lives change as a result, because usually once you get more into alignment as to what your soul is trying to get you towards, then you'll notice there's a shift in the things outside of you. All the people, places, things, times and events in your life will start to rearrange to make that possible. So it's actually kind of really magical how that happens. Okay, so I'm going to the Wild Offering Oracle, and I just want to say too, with the technical difficulty stuff or the weird kookiness, that Instagram records this. I'm sure some of you have watched the replay before, so thankfully for that. It usually tends to be better than the live for some reason, so sometimes the live will have interruptions, but the recording is better. I don't know why, but it just, so if you miss a chunk or a chunk goes missing, you can go to the replay and fast forward through. So I just pulled the card of service, and I'll read the smaller text, but it's saying you stop using the universe to try to get what you want and start asking love to use you. You offer all and want to be of service. Ironically, many desires become fulfilled without grasping or manipulation. So this is an interesting card because I really feel it's definitely in line with the theme of today, which is about going inward and connecting to your soul purpose. And service is a natural extension of that. When you connect to why you're here on the planet, it's very much connected to what you're here to offer. Because a lot of us in the offering of service or in the offering of ourselves or the sharing of ourselves in some way, whether it's through an actual service or through art or music or just company, that fulfills our soul. That's connecting to our soul purpose. So finding what your service is and finding what your soul purpose is, they're very much hand in hand. And a hint, if you're stuck, is also looking at where your difficulty has been in your life. What have you really struggled with? Because the things that you've struggled with, that you've learned to overcome, or that you might still be overcoming them. You might still be struggling with them. It might be an ongoing struggle in varying degrees, and that's okay. But that will show you where your gift is. Because whatever you heal in yourself, whatever you overcome in yourself, those dragons that you slay, those things that you learn, you get wisdom from those experiences, and you carry that in your energy field. And when you connect to someone else that's struggling in the way that maybe you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or maybe just last week, you bring that energy of completion of that struggle to that person. So even just sitting next to someone on the couch and having a conversation, you could be helping them energetically with their stuff if you've already moved through what they're struggling with. So often our service is linked to our own pain or our own suffering from the past and how we've moved through it and overcome it, so that we're able to offer that. Not necessarily for someone to follow the exact same road that we traveled, because we all have our own path through life, but you can at least be a bit of a guide for that person. So you might find that people start coming to you for help just naturally in life, not necessarily professionally, and they're asking you for help because they're feeling that there's something in you that you have that you can help them with. So just be open to that, because I really feel like this is really linked to your soul purpose, why you're on the planet, and your greatest challenge often very much does become your greatest gift. And when I talk to my other healer friends about, because it's really interesting, the universe just brings us the perfect students and clients no matter what we do. Like, it just happens naturally. And for some healers that I know, they have a lot of people that might come that are in physical pain, like a lot of really deep physical pain. And other healers are having people that are more in emotional pain, or maybe they're having more of a spiritual crisis. And when we look at sort of what we've overcome in our own lives, our clients are perfect frequency match to that. So for example, I don't get a lot of people coming to me who are in major physical pain, because that hasn't really been my journey. But I have friends that's been their journey, and those are the clients that go to them. And it's not like we advertise this, it just naturally happens. So everything is frequency specific to you, in that it's a frequency match to you. So your soul's journey, which is part of you, even if you're not aware of it, is a frequency, and it's going to naturally pull those things to you. So even if you feel lost and like you're not on your path, or you're not going in the right direction, you don't even have to do anything about it. All the stuff I'm asking you to do is just sort of journal and try to find that clarity with it, but you're still going to be on that path anyway. And part of why we're here is to be of service to each other in our own ways, okay? And so you probably already noticed that when you give to someone else, when you help another person, that also helps you. Even if you feel like you have nothing to offer, if you can help somebody, if you can help cheer them up, or if you can help them see things in a different way, it helps you too. And so by helping each other, we're helping ourselves. And I really feel like if we can turn the energy around of what's kind of been happening on the planet, there's a lot of fear right now. And when people are in fear, they're not in alignment with this. And when they're not in alignment with this, they don't have the energy to be of service with one another. They don't have the energy to give. So it just becomes a lot of like, that kind of energy. So I encourage you guys to take some time to connect to this so that you have more energy to give, and we can maybe collectively we can help kind of settle some of the fear that's out there, because the unknown is scary for most people. It's the big unknown, and that's what's happening right now. Everyone's just reacting to the not knowing and to the being afraid. I don't think we need to be afraid of the unknown, but it's taken me years to be cool with it. It's not something that happens overnight. So if you're anxious or scared, that's okay. Do what you need to do to feel safe. But yeah, I'm going to the animal deck now. Spirit Animal Oracle. Love these cards. I just love I've mentioned this before. I love it when the artist pays attention to the back side of the card and doesn't just slap some weird random crappy image on it. So I do love the back side of this deck. Kudos to Colette Baron Reed. Ooh, Bat Spirit. I've pulled this one. We've had this one a couple times recently. So this is all about death and rebirth, transformation. See this symbol on the bat's third eye here? Again, it's calling for us to connect to our spirit and our intuition. That's what's going to get us through this. Honest to God, it's the only thing. So rebirth is assured. Rebirth isn't birth. For those of you who've had children, you can attest to this. Birth is it's a tough thing, and it's messy, right? And I know there's medications that can help get through it, but my God, it's one of those things that you're like, oh, it's like running a marathon up a mountain. So it's not easy. So rebirth isn't easy. So where we are now in the world and where we're going, it's not always an easy process. But you know what? Sometimes in life, the best things that happen to us or the best experiences we have are the ones we have to work really hard for, or we survive and we're like, I don't know how we survived that. And then you feel so empowered after. And think about all the movies that we love so much. Well, the ones that I love, like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. There's always like battles against good and evil. There's always some kind of underdog who doesn't think he can do it or she can do it, and then they miraculously do it. And we're all like, yeah, you did it when you didn't think you could. So, but that's within us too, right? Like, and you guys all have it within you too. And there's going to be days where you can't. You're in your pajamas and you're Netflix binging and you're like, I can't do life. And there's other days where you're out there and you're just killing it. So transformation is not always easy. Sometimes it takes a lot of energy. Sometimes it's messy. But we're getting there. Don't lose faith. We got the bat spirit. All right? Hanging in. My cat just made an appearance here. Hopefully he's not too spazzy. He's been very crazy lately, especially at 3 a.m. My couple of my guys are home with me right now. My one son got attacked in the middle of the night. He crashed on the couch and my cat attacked him. I thought that was funny. But okay. I should probably put, like, when I tell people about this, it can be goofy. You know that, right? For those who know me. It's the goofy tea with tarot. 4 of Pentacles. Beautiful card. Okay. Now, see how her eyes are closed here and she's kind of holding her purse? It's not like she's like, oh, I'm not going to spend any money and I'm holding my money and someone's trying to take my money. No, she's like almost holding her purse with reverence, kind of like connecting to it and feeling grateful and happy for it and thankful and connecting to spirit. How you make your money in this life, like how you make your living, it doesn't matter if you feel like it's your sole purpose or not. There's an energy there and there's a connection to that. And just appreciating that abundance coming to you, just being thankful for that and taking a moment of gratitude will create more. And I know that a lot of us have been struggling financially. It's been a very difficult year. But to be grateful for that little bit that is coming your way really does help. For me, I'm super grateful for for everyone's support, even for people coming to my house and like buying soapy things and stuff like that. It's been really wonderful. But also too, I love what I'm creating, so there's good energy in that that's going out into the world as well. So it's like this exchange. It's like this person has made these beautiful things and is sharing them, or sharing their love of something, or maybe they've written a book, or maybe they're just being really present in service with someone. So it's about the energy of what we're doing with our money too. Where are we spending it? Like, what I've really loved about what's going on in the world is there's been real community support. I've noticed even on the Facebook groups of people trying to support small business and people that are struggling, and it's really been a beautiful thing. Maybe we haven't thought about that stuff in the past, and maybe all of these crises have caused us to look at the world in a different way. So that's a really beautiful thing here. But this is somebody who's like in reverence with, because the pentacles represent money, but this is also about creativity too. So it doesn't matter if it's a lot that you have or a little, but being really grateful and thankful for it. And also really acknowledging spirit here too in the gratitude. So I know Thanksgiving, we've moved through Thanksgiving and we're now coming into Christmas, but it is nice to take some time and just be grateful for the things that we do have, the people that are in our lives, our loved ones, our health, the abundance that we do have. Okay? All the other stuff's going to get sorted out, but let's try and stay in that energy of acceptance and also gratitude. It is really true that the gratitude does attract more gratitude. So the spellcasting oracle. And I'm not saying you're not going to have bad days. You're going to have terrible days, but that's okay. You just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start over again. And I've said this in the past. I'm like, if you're going to have a bad day, or if you're going to go into the depths of despair, try and do it in 24 hours. Try and do it concentrated. Don't drag it out for a couple weeks. And then the next day, start over again. Don't beat yourself up for things you thought you did that you shouldn't have done, or ways you thought that you shouldn't have thought. None of us are perfect at all. We're just doing the best we can with what we have. Okay, so I just pulled the grieving card. And it's really interesting because it's the word on the card is grieving, but there's this beautiful blue butterfly in the top. So you can see that these people are grieving here. And then you see that person in the back there. Looks like they're almost doing like a sun salutation, like their arms are up in this receiving of the energy. And there's a lot of light here. So this card, the word says grieving, but for me, this is moving through suffering. So whatever it is that you have struggled with or are still struggling with, and it might be something really old that you thought you dealt with that's still affecting you, or something that you thought you fully healed, but maybe there's a part of your heart that still hurts from it. That's okay, all right? But this card is coming up to show us that we're moving through that, and we are going to a lighter place, and we're going to a place where we're able to receive more joy and forgive the grief. And when I say forgive the grief, because when we're grieving, it's not just about losing someone close to us, or it usually is connected to loss, grieving. But there's a piece in it that as often has to do with forgiveness, and not just of another person. Because even if someone dies, you can feel really angry with them. And even though they didn't leave on purpose, there's still a process we have to go through where we're angry that we've been abandoned or left behind. But this card is about forgiving yourself, because maybe you think, oh, I should be over it by now, or I should be feeling this way, or I should be doing that, or I should be doing this, or I'm not doing this right or that right. I think this card is about like letting yourself grieve what needs to be grieved, and then forgive yourself and let it go as much as you can, and to recognize it's not going to happen all in one big chunk. Sometimes it's going to take time, sometimes it happens little by little, but this card is about giving yourself permission to grieve, because sometimes we hear from people, oh, you should just get over it. Oh, just move on. Oh, if that's not working, just let it go. And for some of us, it takes longer, and it's okay. It's okay. It's part of having a heart. It's part of having a human heart. It's part of feeling. And feeling the grief and the loss is really freaking hard. It's really hard. But if you don't feel those things, you're not going to feel the joy. You're not going to feel the elation. You're not going to feel that love. So we have to take all the emotions. They're all good, okay? But allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to forgive yourself. And try not to stay too long there, you know, like try to move through it as well as you can. And get help if you get stuck. Seriously, ask for help from a friend, from a loved one, from a professional. Right now, the energy we're in right now is tough. It's heavy for a lot of people. I've had my moments with it too, even with all my tools. So it's really important to be gentle with yourself right now. And gentle with other people, because I mentioned this before, when people are afraid, when people aren't doing well, they're not their best selves. And so try not to take it personally if you've had a falling out with a friend or a loved one, especially since this whole coronavirus thing that's gone on. And even though we're not seeing each other in person anymore, some people aren't even really connecting electronically anymore. They've kind of just sort of pieced out, you know, and that's okay. Like, but just try not to take it personally. Don't cut people out of your life because maybe you have a disagreement on some of the technicalities of if it's masks or no masks or vaccine or no vaccine or whatever the flavor of the week is. Just forget about all that stuff and just, you know, don't ditch your people, okay? If you have to take a break from someone, that's fine, but, you know, everybody's grieving in their own way is what I'm trying to say, and not everybody is grieving in a lovely, you know, friendly way. Some people are grieving in a really horrible, messy way. So forgive yourself, forgiving other people, holding that grace for yourself and other people, and trying to cultivate the compassion is really important right now. It feels a little bit like the cards, I don't know if it's just me or the energy's a bit heavy on all this like soul purpose stuff and like, oh my gosh, but Christmas can be fun. It can be fun. It's probably because this time of year we're thinking about our families a lot. We're thinking about our childhoods a lot. We're thinking about, you know, our family lineage a lot. All that stuff comes up. It's one of the best times of the year to connect to spirit for those of you who are working on your intuition. To me, between now and the end of January is some of the clearest ways to connect with loved ones who've crossed over. For me, the energy is the first time I saw my first person who had died was this time of year. So it's the witching time. I'm going to the Sacred Destiny Oracle for the next card, and I pulled Diligence. This card, though, I'm more drawn to the picture than the word, and see how this bird is soaring overhead and looking down, and there's a lot of clouds here, but they've started to open, so you can start to see the landscape below. To me, this is about us taking that higher vantage point, because sometimes in life when we're looking at something, we're really focused on the tiny, we're focused on the details, we can get overwhelmed with that, but when we pull ourselves back and look at the big picture, a lot of times things make more sense, or we have a different perspective, and we can say, okay, the details of this day, or the things that are bothering me in this day, when I pull myself back out, I can see it's just a small little blip in my life. It's not even a chapter of my life, it's just like a mini moment, you know? So varying your vantage point, and I talk about this with my students when we're developing intuition, vary your vantage point. Pretend that you have like a camera lens in your mind. You can zoom in really close to something for more clarity, or you can also zoom out. And this card is asking us to pull ourselves back and away from what's happening to get that perspective. It's very similar to the message we had earlier about not getting caught up in drama and chaos, but pulling ourselves back, going behind an imaginary glass where we can like imagine that we're watching it on a television screen and we're not in it. Okay, so these are things we're going to practice over the next few weeks, not to get caught up in the emotional chaos of whatever's happening around us, but to stay rooted in your energy and to come from that place when you're making your decisions. Because that's one of the hardest things in life, is getting clarity and making decisions when you feel emotionally tossed around. That's why I work. That's why I do what I do for a living, because all my clients come to me in that space of confusion because they're emotionally embroiled in whatever's going on, and I'm the one that helps to pull them back behind the glass. So, you know, because sometimes it's hard to do that for ourselves. But This card Spirit's just saying, you know what, you can pull yourself up and kind of look at the whole landscape. You don't have to be right in each individual thing. So let's try that as a tool or a thing to do if we feel like we're getting too much into something. So I feel like we've got time for one more card, and I'm going to the Romance Angels. So if some of you are still looking for love, and I just want to say overall with the whole love thing, I really feel like February, Valentine's Day, February, March is going to be better for those single people out there. Maybe the world will open up again. It will be easier to date. But I just feel like the next 2 months is going to be a bit of a slower energy. And I think that's why a lot of the messages we've had are about going inward and really working out that soul stuff. Because when else have you ever had the time and the space to do that? There are a lot of gifts in what's happening right now in the world. Like, there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of gifts to slowing down. And so make the most of it instead of like complaining about it or wanting it to change. Make the most of it and take that time and use that time to figure things out. And this is about finances and career. So this card, it's funny, Romance Angels, it's like, it says financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. Well, they are in every love life, let's face it. Yeah, so this is about, but it's also about you figuring out what you want to do. And it doesn't mean you have to be a slave to finances. Finances can come and go. But I will say this in my own life. I find that if you're passionate about what you're doing, like if you really love it, the money does come. And I know that sounds like some kind of airy-fairy fortune cookie, but it's so true. It's so true. Okay, I'm just going to share a quick story about my life to illustrate that. So I went to university. I was going to go to teacher's college. That was my plan. I got pregnant with my first child, like right before graduating. You know, I found out right after I applied to teacher's college, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. So that got, you know, put on hold, and then I ended up going to school part-time when he was a baby to become an educational assistant, and then I got pregnant with twins, and then at one point I had to be on a bit of bed rest with them, and I couldn't complete that program. So it's like every time I tried to pick a career or pick something, it's like I just kept getting bumped around and hijacked, and the story goes really long, and I'm not going to share all of it, but when I finally, I guess, when I finally listened to that little voice that what my soul was saying was like, use your gifts. And I didn't really like my intuition growing up. I was always trying to shut it off. So it's kind of like I had to make peace with it. And that was part of my journey to do what I love. And now I feel like I'm really lucky in that in my life I'm doing what I love for a living. But I've never had like a real job really, like because I just sort of made my own job in and around raising children, and making soap and all that stuff just kind of happened for fun. So I'm really lucky in that I was able to make a living doing what I loved out of nothing, literally made my own job. And it's very possible to do that. But for those of you who are working in jobs right now and your finances are linked to that and you can't make a big sudden change, that's okay. You can start to bring in some of those things you love into your life now. You can maybe volunteer. Maybe if you're working full-time, you could go down to 4 days a week. With coronavirus, there's opportunity where a lot of people are working from home and they do have a bit more time to sort of cultivate some of their hobbies or things that they love. So there is a way for you to make a living doing what you love. And if you can't do that right now, bring more of what you love into your life so that you can at least be like, okay, I have to do my job to pay my bills, but at least I've got this one day where I'm doing the things that I love. So there is a way to start to do this. And I tell my Reiki students, you know, don't just quit your day job and put your Reiki sign up out there. Like, it takes some time. Like, bridge over, start to do both. And then when one grows more, then you can slide across to it. But this is about your soul purpose, but it's also looking at your finances and career. So for a lot of you, what your soul is craving to do is going to be connected to what you're doing for a living. And how you are in the world. And it doesn't mean we all need to be holistic healers. There's lots of different ways for us to be in the world, but you'll find it. And if you're really passionate about it and you really love it, that will come through in your work because you'll be giving 110% to all of your people, and it will just naturally grow. Like, we all know when someone's not into something. We've all had teachers growing up that really could give a crap about what they were teaching. I used to get really excited and connected to the teachers who were excited and connected about their what they were teaching. I actually went and signed up for a lot of history classes first year university because I loved my history teacher. He was so passionate about history. I got to university and I took my first history class. I'm like, I have to drop this class. I was falling asleep. My teacher could give a crap about history, and I was like, history isn't really my thing. I think I was more just drawn to my teacher that was like, yeah, you know? So we know that when someone's passionate about something, when someone loves something, when someone loves other people, that comes through in what they do. You can't fake that, okay? So this, your soul purpose, you can't fake that either. That's part of you, and you guys will figure it out. So if you've been struggling with this, I don't want you to give up on it. I want you to just keep plugging away at it. There are people like me out there that can help you through it too if you get stuck. But we're gonna do our angel wing cards to complete today, and I will see you all in the new year after this, for sure. Oh, these cards won't come out of the bag. So I'm excited about Christmas. Still, I'm a geek. I'm a Christmas geek. I keep adding lights to my lawn every year, and my house is so tiny. Next year it's going to be like the Griswolds. Like, I think I'm doing the roof next year, like seriously. Especially with the LED lights now. They're so cool. Okay. And I'm one of those people that if somebody meets me and they don't like Christmas, like I sort of take it as my personal mission to make them like Christmas. Oh God. Oh, I pulled two of the wrong ones. Okay, here we go. Nope. Nope. This one. Okay, so I've pulled time for rest and timely preparation. Timely preparation is probably all of us frantically trying to get ready for Christmas, and then rest. All right, choose your door to the light. Okay, so this is about, you always have a choice with everything. With everything. You have the choice to go into fear, chaos, pain, and suffering, or you have the choice to go into hope, peace, and even if you don't believe it, you can suspend your disbelief and just pray and hope for the best. Okay, if you have a choice between two things and nothing's happened yet, meaning that your mind is just worrying about the future that hasn't come, don't choose the horror movie to think of. Picture it how you want it to go. Your brain doesn't care. It just wants to chew on something. So pick the happy comedy, or at least the black comedy. Don't pick the horror movie. The key is June and bringing things out into the open. Oh goodness, June seems a long way off. But hopefully by June, all of this craziness is resolved. Maybe that's what that's about. Summer seems a long way off, but we'll get there, guys. We will get there. And Adrian, yeah, I just reading your comment now how you had a wonderful science teacher in grade 9. It was the beginning of your science career and then also becoming a doctor, right? Like people in our life really inspire us, and you could be that inspirational person to someone else. You just never know, just through a word or a conversation or even a smile. So everybody go out there in the world, even with your masks on, smile with your eyes at everybody, okay? For the next couple of weeks, we're gonna do a lot of eye smiling, winking at people, and just spread the love as much as you can, okay? All right, thank you so much for tuning in. I love this. I love connecting with you guys in this way. And definitely check out my website, circleoflightwellness.com. Lots of classes and events coming up. Lots of things, practical intuition, shamanic journey class coming up. So if you want to go deeper into your intuition or any of that good stuff. All right, okay,